Hello, this is Rob from GRAF, and today we're going to be continuing to talk about population. And if you remember, the last presentation was about the coming population crash, this prediction that bucks the trend and says that, yeah, the population is going to reach a peak of 9 billion, but after that, it's going to fall quite dramatically because of the falling fertility rates around most of the world. Today, as I say, it's going to be about the population explosion, but that's in one specific content. Let me fire up my PowerPoint and let's get going. And that continent is, of course, Africa, the African population explosion. Why is that happening? Well, here's a prediction. By 2100, some people predict that 40% of the world's population will be in Africa. Is that true? Who knows? You can predict anything. You can project anything. It's all multifactorial. But what we do know is, in 1800, there was about 7.4 million people in Africa. Today, there's about 1.3 billion. 2050, that's a reasonably accurate prediction. You know, that's only 30 years ago. There'll be 2.5 billion people, so nearly double the current population. And then, as I said, once you get further away, it's hard to be accurate with your projections, but they're predicting 4.5 billion people by 2100. How accurate that is, I don't know, because if you remember, in my population crash video, I said there'd only be potentially 5 to 6 billion people on the earth in 2100. So I don't believe that greater portion will be in Africa. And that's illustrated by this line graph. Remember, fertility rate and birth rate is what affects the major effector on your population growth. And you can see on this, blue is the global average, and that's collapsing and predicted collapse further. Yellow is Africa, and it's still way above most other continents of the world with its birth rate, its fertility rate, although it shows it falling down to 2.5 by 2050. But until then, the population is going to keep growing. The other effect on your population, total population, is life expectancy. And sub-Saharan Africa still has a very low life expectancy. It averages 50 to 60 years of age, which is 20 years below the developed world. And that's what's keeping a lid on the population, total populations. As healthcare improves and clean water becomes more and more available, that life expectancy will increase. And that's going to have a major effect on your total population. And that's illustrated by this graph here. It's very clear. By 2100, the Asian population would have fallen below its peak. It's expected to start falling by 2050. It's not very clear on Europe, North America, or South America, but the populations are going to hold steady or be falling slightly. Africa is the blue one, the one that still shows massive growth right up to 2100. So what does that mean? It means lots more mouths to feed in Africa. Whatever happens to the total population globally, the African population will grow quite dramatically, and that means an awful lot more people need fed, especially as the life expectancy increases. But the other thing that's happening in Africa, of course, is the improved gross domestic product, the improved economy. And as people get richer and a middle class develops, they move to a so-called more westernized diet. That means more animal fats, more dairy, and more meat, more protein. And that takes an awful lot more land to produce. So anyone that wants to get involved in agriculture and food production, Africa is going to be a massively growing opportunity for both quantities of food and qualities of food, if that's what you want to call a westernized diet. Any comments? Please, comment below in the comments section or get in contact with me on LinkedIn. Thanks for now.